All right, Deanna, you ready for this? What do I say? Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Nerdy Psychologist Book Club. My name's Brandy Hawk. I'm a trauma psychologist and proud book nerd.
And my name is Deanna Boys, and I am a psychology expert and also a proud book nerd.
Let's talk about your favorite heroes and villains, why they do what they do, and what that means for us. Welcome to the club. We're so excited to be joined by our friend, Dr. Brandy Lyles, today. Dr. Lyles?
Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Brandy Lyles, occasional guest on the Nerdy Psychologist Book Club. I am so excited to tell y'all that I finished this book.
Yay!
And I did like it. Unlike Deanna, I actually really like talking about death. I think, and we're going to get into some of this today, I think death tells us a lot about what makes our life meaningful and how we want to live our lives.
Reminder to everyone that every month we read a new book, and each week we'll talk about a new character or concept within the book. Deanna, what book are we reading this month? Deanna, what book are we reading this month?
We are reading They Both Die at the End. And I'm going to give you a little synopsis so you get a general sense of the book. And I'm just going to read it from the book. On September 5th, a little after midnight, Death Cast calls Mateo Torres and Rufus Amaterio, am I saying that right? To give them some bad news. They're going to die today. Mateo and Rufus are total strangers, but for different reasons, they're both looking to make a new friend on their end day. The good news, there's an app for that. It's called Last Friend. And through it, Rufus and Mateo are about to meet up for one last great adventure, to live a lifetime in a single day.
And did you like the book?
Listen, well written, good characters, such a good YA book. Hated it.
Because of the death?
Because of the death. Why you always keep giving me death books?
I mean, the last book wasn't a death book.
Was it? Didn't someone die in that one?
I mean, yes, but
Didn't someone die in
it
that
wasn't about
I mean,
death.
I did appreciate that it was like, oh, they both die at the end. You know what you're getting yourself into. And that is how life is. Everyone dies.
Yeah.
Everyone dies. So, that kind of thing. And also, like, I fully recognize that I have my own hangups about death. And that's why it's uncomfortable for me. The characters are really cute. Rufus was adorable.
I loved Rufus. He's my absolute favorite.
Aww.
I wanted to be his best friend forever.
Yeah. Mateo was really sweet too. And I liked his journey. I very much liked the story. And if they didn't die at the end, I'd be so happy.
But would there be a story if they didn't die at the end?
Yeah. Yeah. There would.
They would not have met.
But what if it was like a trick? Oh, a trick.
There was a little bit where I was like, oh, maybe something is going to switch.
Yeah.
And then, something magical was going to happen and then they weren't going to die. But I also radically accepted that. No, I'm pretty sure they're going to die.
They're actually both going to die at the end.
Yeah. I think also too, because I'm so like interested in like how things work and why they work a certain way. I'm like, how'd they figure this out? Where is it in the book where they explain how Death Cast works? How do they know?
Like you wanted more information about
more
ins
information.
and outs of Death Cast.
And so that was like just pissing me off I was like, well, why do you even know that?
Like, this isn't fair.
Yeah. Tell me more. Which is actually how it's a parallel to how death is.
Yeah.
Like you don't know what happens after you die. And you don't know why or when. And you just have to keep living. That's the theme of the book.
Keep living.
Keep living.
Even knowing that you're going to die, that death is there.
Yeah.
I have to say, I think this was my favorite book that we've read so far. I just fell in love with these boys.
It was an easier read than other ones. That's true.
I just absolutely loved them. I thought they were beautifully written and their journeys were so sweet. I loved that they found each other. I love that they fell in love and that they found friends and that they experienced life. And then I didn't want them to die, but they did.
Yeah, but then they died.
I do want to say this book goes against our book club rule. It was written in 2017, but I chose the
You
book.
rule breaker, you.
Oh my gosh.
She broke her own rule.
Stop it. I was going to tell you why.
Oh,
We need
sorry.
to reinforce Hawk breaking the rules.
Oh, it's true.
Oh my
It's true. I
gosh.
shouldn't.
Good job breaking the rules.
Yeah.
No perfectionism allowed.
Listen, the third book in the series came out last year.
It
Okay.
explains Deathcast.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so I thought it would be weird for us to read the third book in a series without reading the first ones.
Yeah.
So I wanted us to read this one.
Also, very exciting news for all you Bad Bunny fans. It's getting made into a series on Netflix, and Bad Bunny's producing it.
It's so cool.
I didn't know
And
that.
as a Bad Bunny fan, I'm very excited about that. So
I'm excited. I think they're going to do a great job with it. This is one that'll turn into a show really well.
yeah, but then they die. So then the characters die. But I guess that's like kind of like the Netflix way. Like they don't want you more than 3 seasons anyway. So you get
Yeah.
a limited series and then they die.
And we all die, right? We all die at the end. And sometimes we have to just get used to that fact.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, it's the Deanna of the future. Thanks for listening this far. Do me a real quick favor though, and click that subscribe button. Yay! Okay, cool. I'll let you get back to our episode on They Both Die at the End. Oh, wait. We are taking a break for July, and I wanted to send this little reminder to y'all that we will be gone for July, but back in August with new books for our season 2. Okay, now you can go. Thanks.
So I have something that I want to read, which actually isn't in the book. It's part of the author's note at the end. So the author says, so yeah, maybe the title ruined the reading experience for some people. Fair. But I actually have a bigger spoiler for everyone. We all die at the end.
True.
Every single one of us. But once again, how we die or the fact that we die isn't the point at all. I can't spoil the answer for this next question, but I hope it's one we keep on our minds daily. How did we live?
How did we live?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why I love talking about death, because I think when we can radically accept that our life is temporary, it brings to the forefront how we want to live and like what's important to us and what our values are. And I'm sure you all have had this too, but there's like moments in our lives where like we're faced with death more closely.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then that always sort of, I mean, for me, it like just switches my perspective related to
yeah.
things. And not just death, but like just losing things in general.
Yeah.
And then, you know, we talk about in the psychological world this idea of attachment. And sometimes we get so attached to something that that attachment is actually harming us.
Yeah.
And I think that's sort of true about life. Like we're so attached to like living life and not dying, or maybe we're more attached to not dying.
It, like
Yeah.
the fear of dying,
Yeah.
which is very
Absolutely.
much Mateo's story. Was the
Yes.
fear. And like, I'll let you finish, but I was like, it totally makes sense why you were hyper focused on this, the way that the
Yeah.
world focused on death casts and
Yeah.
focused on like
Right.
everything that goes around it. Everyone's worried they're going to die at any point.
Yeah. Yeah. But then we get so attached to this. Yeah. Like you're saying, it's the fear of death that then that gets in the way of like actually right now in this present moment, we are alive.
Mhm.
And when I read Mateo and Rufus's journey, it was just like so much about mindfulness and present moment and like
Yeah.
value congruent behavior for me. And that's what I loved about it, is that I think when we can come to the terms of we are all are going to die, and instead of letting that fear like eat us alive, we just accept it, right? We're like, yeah, we are. So how do we want to live?
Yeah.
Like
that's a good point.
what do we want to leave behind? What do we want, you know, like what memories do we want to create in people about us?
Kind of like
Yeah.
legacy, like kind of a emotional or memory legacy do you want to leave for people?
Yeah.
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 I also, I mean, to that point, as a mom, I have like a very morbid perspective on how to make the most out of my time with my daughter. Like from the time she was little, every day I'd be like, well, if she died tomorrow, right? Like this,
Yeah.
like
You were very mindful.
I
Wow.
mean,
Okay.
just like every day I was like, okay, like this is hard right now, but she could die tomorrow. So
Yeah.
like, what am I doing right now
Yeah.
to spend time with her, to be with her? Like, is this thing that I think is such a big deal? Is it really that big of a deal?
Yeah.
in the grand
So
scheme of things.
in that particular moment, when you were having that, that can be a debilitating thought for a lot of people and they're
Yeah.
unable to get out of it. Like, what did you do to get out of that?
That's a good question.
I think that it's different because it wasn't an automatic thought that came to my mind.
It's
That
like an
was
intrusive
like,
thought?
yeah, it was an intentional thought.
Oh, it was an intentional thought.
So it was purposeful for me to say, okay, she's throwing a huge tantrum, or yes, this is the 10th time that she wants to watch the same movie over and over, right?
Yeah.
But she could die tomorrow. And so, yeah, I just want to do it. I just want to be with her no matter what.
Yeah.
But it wasn't an intrusive thought of, oh my gosh, she could die. It was never an anxiety thought.
yeah.
And I think that also like brings some gratitude when you're thinking about people you love, because like when people die, people you love die, it's like the shit that annoyed you the most is what you miss the most.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
oh, I miss this annoying thing about, this person. And so it does bring some like great, like some gratitude to like, oh, okay,
The
this
little
really is really freaking annoying today.
Yeah.
But if this person wasn't here, then I would miss that thing. And it just
Yeah.
sort of shifts our perspective about relationships too.
Yeah. That's a good point.
And I think for Mateo, like so much of his suffering was like after his dad got sick, like he was alone. Like he didn't have a collective. He didn't have a community.
And a little bit of a community, the neighbor kind
Yeah.
of
Lydia.
I mean, yeah. And Lydia.
But yeah, he did. You're
But
right.
it was
like
very
it's
restricted.
limited and restricted.
And even his relationship with Lydia was significantly affected by his anxiety. And I know we're going to talk about anxiety later, but I think that when you face death full on, it makes you think about the people who are important to you and like how you want to show up for those people while you still are alive and they're still alive.
Yeah. So why do you not like talking about death?
Oh, I don't know. I like avoiding things. I feel like you guys are the weirdos here, and everybody else likes to avoid. I'm the avoider. Okay, so there. No, but like, yeah, I do think about it, but not in necessarily like, oh my God, I'm gonna die one day. It's just like sometimes death comes up, especially when you're grieving someone. Like,
Yeah.
we've talked about this. We've both lost parents, and that's like huge, and
Yeah.
it's such a different kind of world. You lose people.
And like before expected,
Yeah, before
like
they
we
were
were in
lost
our
by cancer and-
50s, 60s when we lost our parents.
Yeah, exactly.
You were young.
Yeah, we were young, and one of the things that did happen from that, it did shift my mindset to be more present and to
Yeah.
be more
Okay.
mindful
Yeah.
and be more like, I could die at that age
Yeah.
or younger.
Yeah.
I need to go live my life and go live it for the fullest. And one of the things my mom did, and I'm not gonna cry, guys. I'll just drink my drink. But like, I was going on a trip when she was diagnosed, and
That's
she was
right.
diagnosed in like February, and I was going on a trip in March, and I was going to Europe, and I was like so excited to go with my friends, and then I was like, well, I'm just not gonna go now because you're dying. And she was like, don't you fucking dare. We're explicit language, everyone. She was so mad at me to even suggest it. She's like, you better go and have fun and live your life. And that was like, okay.
Yeah.
So I like kind of
Yeah.
like to think of it as like, I just want to live a full life. My mom said, go live your life, go live a full life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so interesting. And I think like we have a little bit different experience because like my dad was diagnosed with cancer and he lived with for 3 years with a
Yeah, he did.
diagnosis. And so in some ways, like, and I think there's pros and cons to like emotionally like how people die, right? So
Yeah.
it's like the pros of knowing someone is probably going to die soon is you get to be so much more mindful and intentional about the time you spent with them. And I was living in California. My family's from Oklahoma, and I was an intern. I was poor as shit. And like, I literally got a credit card just to fly home to see my dad, and I flew home so many times, especially that last year he was sick, even though I really couldn't afford it. I mean, I'm not saying rack up credit card
I
debt,
remember picking
to
up
like
from the airport a couple
to
times.
live
Yeah.
a meaningful life. But like, that was the only option of getting home to spend time with my dad. And yeah, did I pay a lot of interest on that in those trips? I sure did. But it was like, I don't regret any of that because it was such a meaningful thing to just be with him,
Yeah.
and just be with my family during this time. But also like about us is like, speaking of like collective and community, and I think this is like Mateo and Rufus did this, is they used their lived experiences to connect instead of avoid.
Yeah.
And so like we've created something that we call Dead Parents Club, DPC. And DPC is like when you're dealing with the grief and like you're really stuck and you can't really be with other people who haven't had the lived experience, you know? This is kind of interesting. I feel a little bit ashamed saying this, but I'm going to say it anyways, like when people's grandparents die.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And like the amount of emotions that I feel when people's grandparents die is like, I get angry at those people. It's not their fault, you know?
Your
It's
feelings
still
are
a
valid.
loss to them.
Yeah.
But for me, it's like you got 20, 30, 40, you know, more years with this person than I did, you know? And so, but then this is where DPC comes in, where you can call someone who knows that feeling and you sit down and like usually we're drinking or, you know,
like then you're a jerk.
Yeah, like that's super invalidating.
Yeah.
You'd be like, okay, but it's your grandparent.
Yeah. And of course, like I would never do that. But like instead of dealing with those internal feelings myself, you can connect with someone who has that same lived experience. And I think when we think about all of the hard things that we've been through, really, if you think about connecting through that, which is the direct opposite of avoidance.
Yeah.
Right.
Connecting.
It's the direct opposite of avoidance is connecting.
Yeah. I recommend it to people that I have a neighbor that just lost a parent and I was like, listen, you don't want to hear this right now and it's fine.
Yeah.
And like, you need to connect with someone that's experienced this.
Yeah. And I'm really sorry you're a part of this club,
I'm
but
so
you are
sorry.
a part
You
of this
have
club
to-
now and you're invited in.
You're invited in
Yeah.
and you need to connect with someone who knows what you're going through. And honestly, it really can't be your family members because your family members also have their own different kinds of triangulation of grief that you don't know what they're like. They could be angry at you. You know, you need to find someone outside to connect with.
Yeah. So it's been so meaningful. And I think, again, Rufus and Mateo, we just hear about their connection to each other and their attachment and them showing up for ways and like that's not comfortable for them and pushing each other to not avoid, you know?
Yeah.
And then like seeing Mateo, like mostly it was Rufus in the beginning of the book, like pushing Mateo to get out of his house and, you know, face all of these things he was afraid of. But then towards the end, when Mateo did that for Rufus, it was like so beautiful. And I think, and again, that's why I like talking about death because it does remind us of all of the things that are important to us.
So Deanna brought up Deathcast before. Talking about death is one thing. Would you want to get a call on the day you're going to die to know that you were going to die?
Immediately no.
You say no? What do you say, Hawk?
I don't know. So I struggled with Deathcast a little bit in like, did Deathcast create the deaths?
That's what I'm like, I need to know the answers.
Because if Mateo hadn't gotten that call, he would have asked his neighbor to fix the oven.
I mean, he also would have stayed in his house for the next 20 years.
No, I agree that it was important for him to get out.
Yeah.
It was just like a weird thing of, did knowing that you were going to die set you on a path
like
to
self-fulfilling
die?
prophecy kind of thing.
Yeah. And then also, if you didn't get a call that day, is that the day that you're like, well, I'm going to go skydiving today because I don't die. Right?
Yeah, he wouldn't have done that. He wouldn't have done that. He wouldn't have had the relationship with Rufus.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. I'm torn about knowing versus not knowing. I think that it's sufficient for me to know that I am going to die at some point without knowing the exact time.
We will die one day in the future.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if I'd want to know the 24 hours. But I think it's enough for me to be like, I am going to die, so I'm going to do things that bring me joy. I'm going to do hard things. I'm going to do things I'm passionate about. I'm going to connect with people through the hard times.
This is like such a nerdy reference, but like it reminds me of like Titanic at the very end. And like something that I fully resonate with is like she had a near-death experience where she almost died and froze in the water. And then she like went off and had this amazing life where she's like riding horses and flying planes.
Yeah.
And she's just like a cool lady. And I was like, see, that's what it is. That's what it's about. So I totally connect with that. Like she knew she almost died, and then something else. I'm gonna go live a full life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like you don't need to stay in your lane. You can do the things that you want to do.
Yeah. Mateo probably would have stayed in his lane.
Yeah.
I think so.
Like you think he needed the push of the 24 hours to go live
for
his
sure.
life. Yeah.
Because he couldn't even post a picture of himself looking goofy.
Yeah.
Like he wants to be.
Yeah.
But I think I derailed your thing that you were saying. I think I actually wanted, but I maybe as you were talking, it just made me think of that. But
yeah.
I also would not want to, like, no, yeah, I wouldn't want to know.
You wouldn't want to know
I
in
don't want
24
to know.
hours.
Don't tell me.
But there's also some value. Like they talked about being able to have a funeral, like say goodbye to people.
Yeah.
And actually
That
be
was
able
cute.
to
The
say,
Rufus
I
even
love you.
wanted that.
I know.
There's actually, so I'm trained in a treatment intervention, acceptance and commitment therapy. And there's actually an intervention about like, how do you get connected with your values? And you basically do what Rufus did is you go to your funeral or you do an imaginal exposure related to, okay, I'm dead, but I get to attend my funeral. And so you know everything, like would you want
I've heard
people
of
to
this before.
say
Yeah.
to you? What are the 3 qualities that most people would come up with when they're describing you? And like, that's where your values are, right? Not in a way of like, oh, I want this person to think this way of me, but like, this is how I want to live. This is how I want people to see how I live. And so it reminded me of that when Rufus went to his own funeral, though it got busted up by the cops.
Ugh,
Yeah.
Come on.
I feel like Amy was just messing with stuff there. I don't know. She was stressing me out.
Yeah, she did not need to make those choices, but
Yeah.
who knows why she made those choices.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe we want Deathcast, maybe we don't. I'm like, what if Deathcast could tell me you're gonna die in the next year?
That's too long.
No, see, I think I would be okay with that.
I
I would
would
be
like
okay
that.
with more length.
Yeah.
Like 24 hours feels like too urgent for me. Like but if I had a year, then you're like, okay, well, I can quit my job. I can travel the world. I can like do all of these things. But again, like then it answers our own question, like, why do we need Deathcast to call us to do that?
Yeah.
You know,
That's a good
Why
point.
can't we just live
like why can't we
that's
just live like
possible?
that? And even like showing up to work, it's like when you think about like why your work is important to you, and we all do like very hard, like emotionally challenging work, but we do it for a reason.
Yeah.
And when you think about that being gone, you do think about, okay, well, why is this important to me? But a year would be better than 24 hours for me.
Yeah, for sure. So something else that comes up in the book that I know you've sort of brought up before is the idea of being able to joke about death and some of that like morbid humor and how valuable that can be to help us.
And that was kind of Rufus. Rufus did a lot of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think morbid humor, there's a balance to it, right? Like you don't want it to get so cynical that you're avoiding some of the real raw emotions through humor.
Mm-hmm.
And I think humor can still be helpful to like manage difficult things, So I think
you don't want to deflect.
Yeah. Yes.
But you want to, be a little irreverent.
Yes. Yes. And those of you who know me know I'm a very irreverent person. So I think irreverence shows up a lot in my life to be able to kind of make meaning of things or like to make lighter of things that are difficult. But I do think we have to be careful. Like we talk about this in the, trauma world where it's like, you can't joke too much about that stuff because then you're avoiding, like if you're using joking to avoid the painful emotions, I don't think that's effective.
Yeah.
If you're using joking to help you like manage the distressing emotions, then I think that's effective.
I think it's really valuable. I think, like you said, when it's used to avoid, it's not helpful. But when it's used to approach, it's very helpful.
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to let you talk and then I wanted to ask another question. I'm so sorry.
No, we can keep going on this. That's okay. It will come out. I have a Star Trek reference, everyone.
Please tell us your Star Trek reference.
Okay. So like Deathcast made me think of the Star Trek episode where there was this like scientist that it was, Next Generation for all you real nerds out there. And he was coming to study a phenomenon and he was about to hit 60. And in his culture, at his world at 60, they are sent off to die. And everyone knows it's happening and it's just part of the culture. But one of the Lexana Troy, the mom of Deanna, which is, her name's Deanna. I wonder why I like Star Trek. She falls in love with him. And she's like, this is barbaric. how could you do this? But they send him off and it's part of the culture. It's just normal. And it's like the same thing like Death Cast. It's part of
Yeah.
the culture. It's normal. Everyone knows it's going to happen. And she like goes through all the stages of grief and anger and bargaining. Like it was very fascinating to watch about that and to watch this like another person who isn't the one experiencing it, but also finding fault with like this idea about like you have to die. Everyone has to die.
Yeah.
So that's my Star Trek reference, everyone.
Okay, so that actually leads in nicely to my last question. Then I have a game for us to play.
Okay.
So I think, and tell me if you disagree with me. So it's okay if you disagree. I think that our culture both avoids death at all costs and like
Glorifies it?
sensationalizes and glorifies it.
You didn't even need to finish that sentence before I knew you
You're
were
like,
going.
yeah,
I was
no,
like, yes,
for sure.
100%. Yes.
Yeah, so we avoid it, like get plastic surgery, do Botox, do whatever you can to avoid looking like you're getting older and to pretend like we're all just young forever.
Yeah.
Don't talk about death. And then at the other side, watch every show that shows gory details of murders and death, listen to podcasts about death, read books that involve death, like every single one of the books that we've read thus far.
As Deanna had mentioned, why does someone always have to die in these books?
Like it's so sensationalized.
Yeah.
We're inundated with it, and yet we also avoid it.
And we want to like know how people die. Like right now, my news feed is, and I don't, you probably just clicked on one article, your eyes stayed too long on one certain thing.
How dare you?
And now it's about like how influencers die. So it's like, this 28-year-old influencer died after childbirth. This like is on my news feed. You know, like these are not even
influencers dying.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
but then
awful.
there is like this urge of like, I'm interested in that in some ways. And you're like, I don't even know this person.
The morbid curiosity.
Yeah, the morbid curiosity.
Yeah, a lot of people. And that's the thing, like when you see people like, oh, they passed away, and it's a friend you know.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh, I will go down a deep dive. What were they doing? What was it? What did they die of? And like sometimes I'll get a little bit too far into it and then I'll be like, this is getting weird.
Yeah.
Take it back a step, Deanna.
But also like two things I thought of, like even it's like, oh, they passed away. Like that's the avoidance part of our culture where it's like, we can't even say the word
Such
dead.
a passive.
Yeah, they died.
Yeah.
Like, oh, they're in a better place.
They moved
That's
on.
avoidance, right?
Yeah.
They've moved on. Like all of that is avoidance related to like, we can't even face what the word is called, like when someone is dead.
Oh my gosh. 100%.
So I thought about that. And then something else that you said that
I literally will say that to people. Like, oh, they'll be like, oh, how are your parents? I'm like, well, mom's dead.
and people get so disturbed by it. You're like, but they're literally dead.
It's no different than if I was like, oh yeah, my mom's living in the Bay or whatever.
Yeah,
like it's just.
And a lot of the clients I've talked to that have dealt with like grief, they just feel so invalidated by the niceties and the but they're in a better place, or they're with so and so or whatever, and then you're just like, that doesn't take away the sting of the grief right now. And it really is kind of like, don't be sad.
Correct.
Because sad makes people uncomfortable.
And it doesn't make you a good capitalist. You won't spend money if you're sad.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think that's the avoidance piece. Oh, and then the second thing where you're thinking about like, oh, how did a friend die or how did someone die? When we also think about like how people die in traumatic ways, like the ones that come up the most for me is like if someone dies by suicide or if someone dies by drug overdose. Mm-hmm. Like you don't get those details. And maybe we're not even like, maybe we don't have the right to those details, right? But what I think about is like, how alone is that living person where they can't even say how the person died because they're worried about shame or judgment or, all of those things. So I think there's avoidance there where it's like when people die in certain ways, we don't want to think about that and we can't even talk about that, right? You see like the vague booking that happens and then you're like, well, how did this young person die or how did this person that we didn't know was sick die?
Even someone who's a little bit older, you're kind of like,
yeah. So I think there's all avoidance around that because we want to kind of avoid the pain of sadness. But again, sadness tells us what we care about. I always say sadness and grief wouldn't exist if there wasn't love. And again, I think Mateo and Rufus, like their love story was so beautiful, and even though it was their last 24 hours, Like Rufus wouldn't have been sad about Mateo dying 24 hours ago, but now
Yeah.
he's sad because there was love there was connection there. And so reminding ourselves not to avoid the sadness or grief, just to help us make meaning of it, is that when we feel this way, it's because love existed.
Yeah.
Aw.
That's why I tell all my clients who are dealing with grief is you only grieve because you loved.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the other thing in this culture is like your grief, like we want to put grief in a box. And so like the early literature talked about like the 5 stages of grief, I don't even know them: denial, anger, those type of things. And then you kind of move
Bargaining,
towards a
depression,
bargaining.
acceptance.
Yeah. And so then you move towards acceptance is the goal.
It's kind of like all over the
Yeah,
place.
like it,
Yeah, there's
first of all,
not
it's
a
not
trajectory.
linear.
It's
definitely not linear.
Yeah,
Grief
it's
is
not a
not linear.
trajectory. All of those feelings might come up, but really, like grief is also can be a very individualized process, and it can be like, I know I'm going to be sad about my dad dying forever until I die.
Yeah.
You know, and there's part of
You
me that's like,
accepted it. It exists.
yeah, like I know he's dead.
Yeah. I can
but
still be sad about it though. Rude,
yeah, and there's a person I follow on social media. Her name is Nurse Hadley. She's a hospice nurse. And she has this beautiful analogy about the grief button. Have y'all seen this or no?
You've explained this to me.
Yeah.
Yes, please explain it.
Okay,
Yeah.
so like basically your life is a box, and when the person dies, there's the button, and then like you're a little ball bouncing around in your life, right? And so like especially right after the person dies, your window is very small. And so when a ball jumps around, it hits that grief button, and all of the pain and the intense suffering and the sadness and the loss like just is so intense.
Mhm.
And then as life goes on without that person, your window is growing because that's what humans' life does, right? And so, and you're a little ball. And so then like your window gets bigger because that's what life does, right? Like we do keep moving even when people die. But when that button is hit, it's still the same intense button. And so like as your window gets bigger, it might not be hit every second of every day, but when it's hit, it feels like yesterday when that person died. And I feel like I can relate to that so much because just like some days, you never think like with my dad, I'd never think like, oh, I would go a whole day without thinking about him or thinking about him dying. But of course I have, he's
Obviously,
died
yeah.
10 years ago, so of course I've gone a whole day without thinking about him. But then sometimes it's
Some
like,
days
just
it's like,
hits
oh,
it like
that's just-
it's, yeah.
You're thinking about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It hits the button.
So I think that makes a lot of sense to me. And so that you're never over grief.
But you allow the grief to happen. Like when you guys hit the button, it's okay because you know that your parent died and you know that it's okay to feel grief. I think it's problematic when we're avoiding the discussion or the thoughts and feelings about grief. And so when it comes up, we think there's something wrong with us, or we want to pathologize someone as like, whoa, you're really sad about this still.
Right.
When,
Right.
duh.
Or we have all of these avoidance strategies to try to avoid the sad feelings. So whether that's, using drugs or alcohol or being too busy, or I'm not going to think about that, or, like just all of the things that we do to try to avoid the distressing emotions, when really approach is the most effective option. And I think with the death cast stuff, it forces people to approach the reality of death.
Though Mateo did try to avoid it by not telling Lydia and then
that made me so sad.
and then blocking her. Poor
he's like,
girl.
Here's my sad note. Bye.
I fucking love Lydia though. She was like, that ain't gonna happen. Like, I'm gonna search for you. I'm gonna find you. And then
I'm on my
like
grandma's phone calling you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, and he's basically that kid's like surrogate dad kind of thing.
And that's about avoidance versus approach, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like, even if it's hard, even if it's sad, even if it's so painful, most people want to experience that together. Like, I would rather know if this person was sick or if they might not live for a long time, because then again, you can spend time with them and you can be more intentional with your time.
I do think that the reason some people don't is because when we are avoidant of death, rather than just spending time and quality time with that person, we spend sad time with them. Oh my gosh, I can't believe this is happening. And we're pulling them down rather than pushing them to live.
You're centering yourself.
Yeah.
On their story.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
like most people who are in the person who is going to die, like doesn't want, like that feels like pity
Yeah.
and not like empathy and compassion
Which
and connection.
happens to him kind of in the very beginning with that one with Mateo when he gets on the Find a Friend or whatever. The app.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
In the very beginning, he's like talking to someone. She's like, I was like, oh, it's not a Decker. It's not someone who's dying.
Yeah.
It's just someone who wants to give sympathy. And then just she says like every wrong thing. I was like going, good Lord.
Yeah.
And then I was reminiscing about all the times that that's happened to me where someone has said something so unhinged and you're just
Yeah.
like, yeah, okay.
And then you're like, I'm not going to talk to you about that.
I'm never
ever
talking to you
again.
about again.
Yeah.
You know, I have,
Yeah.
like you said, it's been 10 years since my mom passed and I've like fully, no, I haven't accepted it. But anyway, I'm kidding, I've accepted it. But I've gotten a lot better when people say unhinged stuff. Like I'm
Yeah.
much more like able to kind of like deflect if I need to or address
Yeah.
it and be like, hey, actually, I don't know if you know that. That's actually
Like
not
that
the
feels
most helpful.
invalidating to the person.
Not the
who
most
has
helpful for you to
experienced
say.
that. Yeah.
You should rethink that next time you talk to someone who's lost
Yeah.
somebody.
But I think Mateo and Rufus' story is so much about mindfulness, right? We spend so much time thinking about the past and all our mistakes, or so much time related to fear of the future and what's going to happen in the future that we just lose all of these present moments. And this story was just so much about all of those like juicy, lifey present moments to me, which I think is one of the reasons why I so enjoyed it. Because I think we can all come to life with that lens. We're going to soak up present moments, painful, joyful, like all of the emotions. Like they weren't happy all day. Their emotions went up and down, and they allowed joy and pain and sadness and shame and guilt and all of these other things to just come, you know, and like they got to experience that and then they got to connect through that. And I think that's what made these last 24 hours so meaningful to them, where they could die. And like, did they want to die? No, but they did, you know, and it was still like, okay, I lived my life.
Yeah. They still lived.
Yeah.
So, I think it's a good time. I want to introduce you to a game,
A death game.
a death game. And I have to say, they did not sponsor us. So this is not a sponsored event. This is just a game that is great. And I wanted to share. So
Before you get into that, when you said death game, I just thought of like all those games we used to play in childhood, like light as a feather, stiff as a board, like all those.
I used to put people in trances all the time.
Yeah.
I loved it. So this game is called Memento Mori. It's by the people that brought us Morbid Curiosity, which is another death game. So they're just a bunch of really great questions related to death. So
Okay.
I'm just going to open it up, take a question.
What have people brought to you to comfort you after a death, and what helped and what didn't? We kind of already answered this one. So I think community, collective, DPC, shout out to DPC. And what didn't help was all of like the niceties and the avoidance and like, oh, he's in a better place and all of that stuff. I think that was harmful to me, like going through.
Yeah, any of
the time.
that.
Yeah.
For sure. I had a coworker who brought me flowers like a couple days afterwards, and I was so angry at the time. I was just so angry at being perceived as being grieving.
As a victim of death, or
yes.
Oh my gosh, when it was true.
Yes, I am not that person.
Yeah.
And then I read her card and I cried, and then I was so angry that I cried at work. I was just so angry that you made me feel my grief. How flipping dare you? And then I took a beat, processed some emotions for myself.
Yeah.
And then I was like, that was actually one of the kindest things she could have done, because she just left it on my desk. She didn't do anything about it. She left me a nice note.
That.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I know it's hard, you know? So yeah, but like if you're going to give any kind of thing to people who are grieving, do not expect a thank you or any kind of acknowledgement.
Yeah.
Like if you want to give something, go for it.
Yeah.
But don't expect anything in return. Let them get to you when they get to you.
Yeah. You know what else was
angry.
so helpful for me was, and I think this is like becoming more like typical culture in funerals, like the slideshows of like the babies and all the memory, like them as babies and all the memories. And we had some hilarious songs about my dad, you know, like that my dad liked. And that was like so meaningful when he died, is like having people talk about memories and like all of his wild days, you know,
hearing
and
all
that
the
was like
fun things.
so helpful.
Yeah, because they don't always talk about those things.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one. What about you?
I love that. I mean, you're bringing up grandparent death.
Oh
right?
my
Oh my
God.
gosh, I'm so horrible.
You shouldn't even feel sad about that.
But like it's the same thing at my grandpa's funeral recently. It was just like, man, like who's this person that you knew? And in some ways it was
Yeah.
really great to be like, oh wow, like there's this whole hymn that is so interesting to learn about. But I was
Yeah.
also kind of like, why didn't I know that person?
Oh,
yeah,
that's
right?
true.
Why
yeah.
did you get him and
Yeah.
I didn't? And I know like for my mom and her sisters also, like there's a piece of that of like,
Yeah.
why didn't we get to know our dad like that?
Yeah.
So I think there's like a plus minus to that.
That just made me think of one thing that comes up sometimes when I'm working with clients is if they had a complicated relationship with a person that died, like that person abused them or was like, you know, like not kind to them or like caused trauma in their life. We do as a culture tend to idealize the dead.
Yeah.
And
That is
so
so
like,
true.
oh, we're going to talk about all of these, you know, amazing things
They
that they
gloss over
did
all
and
the
gloss
bad.
over all of the harm that they caused too. So I think that can be like tricky too for people who are navigating. Like if you had a complicated relationship with a person that died, there's going to be like a wide range of emotions that are just so normative and
Relief.
valid. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
relief is
Yeah.
totally valid.
And that, like, actually, speaking of grandparents, like my grandma had pretty severe dementia by the time she died, and my mom was taking care of her, and it was like a very, very painful experience. So much suffering in that, you know, and then like watching your mom suffer was so hard. And so, like, when my grandma finally died, there was relief, and I think if I hadn't have come to terms with like accepting all of the emotions that come, that would have like then created some guilt and shame, you know, instead of like,
Yeah.
oh, it just makes sense that relief is here because her brain was not the same. Like she wasn't living a happy, meaningful life either because she had dementia. And also like it is going to be easier for our family for her to be gone. But then, you know, people like don't like that either.
They
like
don't love hearing
you
that.
know,
Yeah.
like that creates some discomfort in us.
All the extra time that you got in your day now.
Yeah.
So that's a real thing.
Yeah.
Like when you
And
lose
so I
someone you're
think-
caring for.
Yeah, I mean, it's really is about like accepting our emotions, letting them be there, you know, like bringing curiosity to like, why is this emotion coming up instead of judgment? Why am I feeling this way? I shouldn't feel this way, you know, those type of things.
Okay, my turn.
Your turn. Do you not like this one?
No, I love that I got this one. It's such a good one for me. What is appropriate to wear to a funeral?
Oh, this is so perfect for you.
Is there anything too risque or flashy? What if the dead person would have liked it?
Oh.
I love that I got this.
I love that you got this card too.
This is me. I love fashion.
Color palettes.
One of our friends died by suicide a few years ago, and she had already, which was very morbid of her, told everyone, I want everyone to wear white at the funeral. And it was like a celebration of life. And like different cultures have different like color expectations. Like, especially in the Black culture, they might have like a theme color that you like in Black culture. It's not a monolith, but you know, in some Black families, they have, we're doing purple.
Yeah.
You show up
Yeah.
in purple.
Yeah.
And I remember I got a white dress that was kind of see-through. And I was like, you know,
She would have loved it. Yeah.
Because if you know me, and she didn't know me that well, but you know, like we didn't know each other that well kind of thing.
Yeah.
But like, that's something that she would have loved. So yeah, I'm all about like, you know, at my funeral, you best be wearing slutty shit. I want to see your tits.
Have colors and like
Better be colorful. You better be showing up. I need
Yeah.
a fashion show. I don't care that I'm not
Where
going to see
did
it.
like wearing black at a funeral come from? Like it had to be some kind of
I don't know.
cultural, like historical thing, but I don't know.
I don't know. I think that it's like a long-standing thing, though, starting somewhere in Europe, right?
Yeah.
Because there's, I think in Greece, you wear black. I think if you're a widow, you're supposed to wear black for like a full 40 days. And like the color black symbolizes to the people around you that you're in mourning
That you need support.
and
or,
that you need support and that you like that they just need to recognize that you're in this fragile place in your life.
That's interesting. Yeah, I don't know where it started. I'll have to Google that.
Yeah. I mean, back in the day, you used to tear your clothes right out of grief.
Oh, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
I was
me
thinking about
neither.
Victoria because Victoria was in mourning when Albert died. And I think that is one of the big ones that she was in black for the rest of her life.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it started with her, but she was such a fashion girly.
Fashion icon.
Fashion icon and, colonizer,
Also.
Yeah. But
People are complicated.
yeah, more complicated. Yeah. But I've definitely had people like, I think at my mom's funeral, I wore like a Giants shirt. And they're
That's
like,
sweet.
That's
yeah.
sweet.
yeah, that was the
She
thing that
loves
we
the
shared
Giants.
together.
Yeah.
So like, I am all about you fit in the connection.
Yeah.
It's about connection for me. It's like you connecting to that person
Yeah.
and however you do that. If you connected over slutty outfits, go ahead and have your tits up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whatever
Yeah.
makes
It's
you
like
feel good.
that's what I would want for my funeral. I just want the people who love me to be them.
Yeah.
So like show up in whatever you feel comfortable in or whatever, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Don't wear heels for me.
Don't wear heels.
Was that your thing?
I mean, geez. I mean, you can wear heels.
Okay.
But like, don't
You
put
should be
heels on
forced to
for
wear
me.
heels. Right.
Yeah.
All right. You should answer
Okay,
one.
my question. Okay. What is something you want included in your eulogy? Is there a story you want told? Ooh. I mean, I want people to tell stories of how nerdy and dumb I was
Yeah.
and how I made them laugh.
Yeah.
I think like that's what I want.
Yeah.
That she created a really cool podcast.
Yeah.
Yes.
That you all should subscribe to.
I can subscribe.
Like
Okay, that's not what I want you to say in my eulogy. That's not where I was going with that.
I mean, I just want like however I made it like an influence in your life,
Yeah,
like
however
just
I
like
do it.
however I connected with you or like something we connected over. I think that's what would be so meaningful.
I was playing CB Tiger
Oh yeah,
the
yeah.
other day with some kids, and they're all 6 and 7. 6. So I'm sorry, not gonna do it.
6,
Don't do it.
7, it's dead.
It's
Speaking
dead.
of dead, it's
dead.
dead.
They're like 6, 7, 8, and we emotions are rough sometimes.
Yeah.
At that age, I'm happy,
Yeah.
and then now I'm angry.
Yeah.
But we were talking about love and like what you love about yourself, and they asked me, and I said, I love my kindness, and that is how I want to be remembered, is for my
Yeah.
kindness.
Yeah. Yeah.
I remember I went on a trip with my advisor in graduate school, and we're sitting around drinking, and he was like, what do you guys want to accomplish? Like, what do you want to accomplish by the end of your career? And I was like, I want to make at least one person's life better, right? Like if I can look back and
Yeah.
if someone can say like, this person made my life better, I think I'd be really happy. And he
Yeah.
was like, but I mean, like what publications do you?
You're like, jeez.
I'm like, that's not
why I got
Yeah.
into this,
I don't
man.
think
Yeah.
that's what matters most to me.
Yeah.
But it's really interesting to ask those questions.
And I know a couple episodes I was on, y'all had talked about values. And I think like what's so important about values is like, what would you do if you couldn't tell anybody?
Yeah.
Like that's where your
Ooh.
values are. So it's like, oh, publications are even like joking about this podcast. Like, oh, we do it because like other, like we want to talk to the, these concepts with other people. But if we couldn't tell anybody about it, would we do it? I don't know, right?
If you can tell anybody about the podcast or about
like
death,
just anything
or-
that you do in life, right? So it's like
Mhm.
you reminded me when you said publications, like, well,
Yeah.
part about publications is notary and like
Yeah,
being noticed
notoriety.
and
Mm.
being perceived as someone who's like smart and ambitious. But could you do any of would you do any of those things if you could not tell anybody about it?
Yeah, if you didn't become seen as smart and ambitious and special for
Yeah.
doing it, would you do it?
And that's the stuff that's the core part of who you are and what's meaningful to you.
It's funny you
Yeah.
mentioned that. Just thinking about research and publications, like my name's on quite a few, and
Yeah.
I have never brought them up. And
Yeah.
I never bring them up.
Yeah.
And I don't care. It's okay.
Yeah.
Like that's not, there's things that like, you're like, yeah, I did that and it didn't matter that much. It did matter. Like it was
mattered.
important, but like, I don't need to, like you're saying, I don't need anyone to know that I'm intelligent.
Right.
Or
right.
that I know what I'm doing.
Right.
And to answer your question, maybe we wouldn't have these mics in front of us.
But we would still be having the conversation.
Yeah, we would still be talking about these things.
Yeah, 100%.
We would.
100%.
And that's like, you're talking about values and stuff. And like one of the biggest things, or like, I don't know if it's whatever it is like my goal in life is to destigmatize mental health. Like that's my big, that's my crusade, and to like disseminate and make this accessible for people.
I would say
it's
that's
so scary.
like to iron like it down and be like, that's contribution. And like we all share the value of contribution. And then also curiosity, right? Like that's what this podcast is about for me, is like curiosity and like being able to just talk about things you're curious about and get y'all's perspective on it. So I think in some ways, yes, it would still be a thing, even if nobody knew about it, or if we got one like our sweet families, you know, or our only viewers, like that would be fine, because it's still sort of meeting this core value of being able to have like interesting, curious conversations.
Yeah, curiosity is such a good term for it. Yeah.
So I have a question for y'all. If Deathcast called you tonight, what would you do tomorrow?
I would call off work.
Like, listen, I'm gonna have to call in sick tomorrow. I'm dying.
Yeah, I'm calling in for a death day.
It's my end day.
And I would just want to spend the day with my family and friends.
Yeah.
Just hang out.
You wouldn't be constantly worried like Mateo that the piano was gonna fall on your head kind of thing?
I mean, probably, but I mean, what are you going to do about it?
Sometime in the next 24 hours. It's not like
you don't
after
know.
24 hours. You could be in the next 5 minutes. I don't know. We don't know that though. Anyway.
We can't.
I would want to throw a big party
and
just have everybody come and like all my loved ones be there, and
that fits. Yeah.
You know, and just like all be together, and then you're just like together, and even though you're gonna have sadness and you're gonna have joy and you're gonna have anger, but you're managing it together.
Oh, like they did a little party at the club.
Yeah.
I
love that.
Maybe not a club for me.
I don't
Y'all
think a
know
club.
I'm not much of a clubber, but in a big backyard, and I would hope it would be sunny that day.
Yeah.
And if not, it would just be inside instead.
Yeah.
What about you, Dee?
What would I do? Have a panic attack, probably? I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, probably start there.
Yeah. Start at panic attack.
We're allowing that too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. A little hyperventilation, that's fine. But then probably like, probably would just have a party.
Yeah.
Tell
like,
everyone.
Hey, guess what? Guess who's dying? Me.
This is how
Come
I
over
want
and
to
hang out with
celebrate.
me. And you're not allowed to say anything sad at all.
Yeah.
There are rules about Death Club. We don't talk about death.
I love that. Well, I think that's probably a pretty good place to stop.
Yeah. If you made it this far, thank you so much. If you, teared up a little bit thinking about death, that's normal too. Yeah. That's okay. Death's hard to talk about, but we're so glad that you came and stayed all the way to the end. If you
need a formal invitation to Dead Parents Club, we're happy to send you one.
We're happy because sometimes like there is an app for that.
Yeah.
And it is our Patreon. No, I'm just kidding.
But also, yes.
But also, like, you can connect with us.
Yeah.
They are clinical psychologists. I will just talk from experience, but I think that it's very important to have community, especially when you're thinking about death.
Yeah.
And try not to let it to debilitate your life. And thanks for joining us.
Yeah, so please like and subscribe. And if you're interested in our cocktails or in our therapy resources or just to chat with us, come to our Patreon. We have 3 more weeks talking about death. So yay!
Do we really?
Dee's going to get so much exposure.
I mean, we're going to talk about the other characters, but the book is called They Both Die at the End. So yes, we have 3 more weeks of talking about death.
Right. I mean, I thought we were done.
And so thank you so much for joining us, and we look forward to seeing y'all next week. Bye.
Thanks for coming.